9. And here's Leah.
Hi, everybody. Here we are again. Same time, same place, same boring stuff. I know I'm your most entertaining podcast for sure. I hope so. All 10 of you.
All 10 or 12.
We're into double digits now with our following. So anyway, so what is going on? Now, did Billions start or is it starting? Because it was on last week, but I couldn't figure it out.
I don't know. I don't watch it, but I think I saw the advertisement that it was starting last week.
I thought it was starting last week too, but when I went to look for it, I couldn't tell. I thought it was like they were recapping last year. Do you know, Jason? You don't know? He doesn't know. Turn on the microphone.
Turn on.
Told me that it started already.
Oh, it did? Well, I have to watch. He voted. I have to watch it. So that. Oh, it started? It did start?
The 12th is starting.
Oh, it's starting the 12th. Okay,
So
good.
next week.
Okay, good. So that was probably all like a recap of everything. Okay, good. See, this is our shipping department over here. We have our administrative department over there. We have human resources.
We had people. Now listen, guys. We know you guys last week gave us some feedback on the audio and everything. It should be fixed this week. And also, Jason is always busy working over the side,
He
and Leah
pretends to be working.
and Leah's always asking him questions, and he's not always mic'd up. That's why you guys can't hear
Well,
it. So we
Jason,
apologize. But
to be honest with you, Jason really chooses not to be part of this.
Listen, we're just a dog and pony show anyway.
Not be part of his scene. It might embarrass him amongst his social circles. Who is that said they were embarrassed? Oh, I know. It's the
Sutton.
Housewives.
He's gonna pull a
Oh,
Sutton.
yeah, on the Housewives. She's like Sutton. He doesn't want to be associated with this trash.
He doesn't want to be associated with all the trash.
So then The Voice is coming up. That's starting soon. I like The Voice. We'll see what's going on with there. And then Yellowstone is coming on. Does anybody watch Yellowstone?
Oh, I watched
Nobody
a couple
watches
episodes
it.
of that
I'm the
once.
only one. Bill and I, my friend in LA, we like it. I tried to get RJ and Roy into it. They didn't really get into it that much, but I think it's really good. I don't know why I like it. The scenery's beautiful. Kevin Costner, of course, is good. We like the girl that plays his daughter. I can't think of her name, but I don't know. We like it. It's kind of dark, old money, Westernish. I don't know. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched Aretha. Did you guys watch Aretha?
I did not get to it this weekend,
Well,
but
so I guess so I wasn't going to go to the movie to watch it because
you can stream it.
Yeah, I did. So because you're in Florida, there's no way you're going to go to the movie in Florida, in COVID Central Florida, where people are dropping like flies. How many people died yesterday?
You might die before the movie's over.
Yeah, you'll die while they're coughing on you. But how many people died yesterday in Florida? I mean, like 1,300, over 1,300 last week. It's just crazy, and the hospitals are just overloaded. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to go to the movie. So I turned it on. I watched it on the streaming thing, and you pay like some $19 or something, and you get it for 3 days or whatever. But I was just going to watch part of it, and then I was going to watch the rest the next 2 or 3 days. But it was the middle of the night, so I stayed up all night and watched it. It was so good, and it reminded me when she came and performed at the Gala. And remember, we thought she was just so difficult, and it was just, we were so stressed out, and we weren't even sure she was going to get here, and then we weren't sure she was going to get on the stage, and then we were a nervous wreck, and then, I got a donor she drove from Detroit. She didn't drive, she came on a bus from Detroit here because she won't fly. So that was a very long trip. So every other performer other than one, we have gotten to donate their time.
Yeah.
We got Pharrell to donate, Barry Gibb to donate, Aretha Franklin, Tony Bennett. I mean, I got them all. You know me, I was working them. That's another thing. I'll tell you about her Pharrell in a minute. But anyway, so we got them all. Flo Rida, Pitbull, Natalie Cole, Dionne Warwick, all of them, Patti LaBelle, except for one. Yeah, I mentioned him. Yeah. So all but one. And that I had to pay a minimal amount to, which I'll leave that who it was. Okay. So all the others we got for free. This is before everybody in Miami had a charity and started paying huge numbers to get talent. And then, then of course, once everyone's willing to pay, you can't do that. So I had negotiated through this girl that we randomly knew this small fee for her, given who she is. And we didn't go through her agency. It was just her. And I shouldn't even be saying all this because she's not here now she's not here because it doesn't matter. So it had to be in cash. Couldn't go through the agency. It was a small amount. And she was Someone's flying.
God, I just heard that noise in the headphones.
No, it's
I was
someone
like,
flying.
what is that? Are they landing on the roof?
That's the COVID doctors coming to pick up the city. So anyway, so I had to drive to pay her. I had to go in the middle of the day before. We were so overwhelmed. I had to drive all the way up to North Miami to the hotel up there to pay her in cash, where she counted the money twice with a witness. And then after that, she became the nicest person I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
I have text messages from her. I have so many text messages from her.
Didn't she put her purse on the?
Yeah, I'm going to get to that. Yeah. So Aretha, so I looked it up the other day because I forgot. So I had all these text messages from her for years. I couldn't believe it. So she sent me the pictures of this, and she goes, "Oh, Cartier's my favorite," and this perfume she gave me from Cartier, and did you attend the opening of something, I'm not sure what, and then she said she was going to go see the Pope in September in Philadelphia, and she said, "Oh my God, he's my hero, and how's the weather down in Florida, and I'm going to be at this big thing, and why don't you come and go with us, me and Adrian Arch in Washington, D.C. I'm going to be at the Kennedy Center Honors. I'm going to her dinner, and I'm staying in the second most expensive home in all of D.C. Wonder what the cuisine will be. Come stay." She was so adorable to me. And then I watched this thing, and they ended it with her singing at the Kennedy Center Honors, playing the piano and singing. And you had mentioned once before that she had my gold handbag there, laying on top of the piano.
Yes.
I didn't think much of it, but then when I saw she had all the presidents standing up and applauding, and Michelle and them screaming, and all the audience screaming, and my handbag right in front of her while she was playing the singing, the piano, playing and everything. I was like, oh my God, that's my handbag with my label in it. I was just going nuts. I could not believe it. So I had this relationship with her back and forth for, I don't know, well, let me see, up until like 2000, up through 16, up through, so then all of a sudden, I just stopped hearing from her. I texted her 2 or 3 times. I thought, I probably did something or said something to upset her, because she is very temperamental.
Yes.
Like, I complimented her necklace, which I knew that it was a Freedom Medal, Medal of Freedom.
Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Presidential Medal of Freedom. Yeah. I knew that's what it was, but I didn't say that. I just said, "Oh my God, I love that. It's just so fabulous on you." And she corrected me right away. She said she was a little temperamental, so I thought I must have just done or said something, that hit her the wrong way, because and then I found out, and when she just died, she dropped dead.
Yeah.
And then they had that whole pink Cadillac thing going down the freeway and everything. Anyway, that movie was just, you have to watch it. And then I realized watching it how hard she had to struggle. Twice as hard as a white woman would have to. Mm-hmm. Then she worked along Dr. Martin Luther King, and she was a civil rights icon. She had this huge history behind her that I knew her history, but not to that depth. And I realized why she was so kind of difficult up until the time she actually was paid and here to perform, because she's been treated so bad her whole life and had to fight for everything so hard her whole life. And then I started thinking, how I just took these talents for granted for the charity. I mean, whoever got Tony Bennett to perform, and with Queen Latifah, the only duet they ever did?
Yep.
I did. I didn't think anything of it. I'm just hustling, getting the gig going, getting everybody there. They come. We had the whole stage set up, and all the tables are around the stage. And if you know anything about galas, the people that pay the bigger money want to sit at the very front row, and it's all pecking order, and you can't keep them all happy. We walked in the ballroom, and he had taken one entire side of the 3 sides of the stage for his band, like 30 people and all the musicians, and we had to cram those 10 tables in with the other 20 on the other side, and we were just having a nervous breakdown. Mm-hmm. Queen Latifah couldn't have been nicer. She was just like right off her shoulder, whatever, fine, we're good. And he made me a nervous wreck. He was very like we were on eggs around him. And then I ran into Queen Latifah at the car wash in LA. And we all had our masks on and everything. And I walked up, I took my mask, I said, hey, do you remember me, Leah Black from Miami? She goes, of course I do. It was one of my most fun events ever. And I was like, yay, Queen. Because she was really a good sport. Because if you remember, our crowd, as they started drinking, they started getting louder. And while she's performing, they're standing around talking. It was so embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. But it reminded me of the Aretha show, reminded me when I got Pharrell to perform. And then fast forward 10 years or 5 years later, I saw that documentary they made on Pharrell. What was the name of it? Does anyone remember the name of it?
Happy or something?
The documentary they made on Pharrell? Anyway, it was a documentary they made on his whole life. I had no idea. I thought he was a little rapper with a baseball cap. And then I saw that, I'm going, oh my God, he was like a big deal. He has produced massive amounts of people and saved the planet with plastic and did the Billionaires Club and all these things that he has done. Yeah. What was it called? Happy Go Lucky. And had I known that, when he was performing, I would have had more of an appreciation for him. But I do know, I was very appreciative he did it, but I couldn't even believe I got him to do it because I just saw him somewhere and walked up to him and got him to do it. And then when he was singing with his baseball cap and his jeans on the stage, all the women got up on the stage and started dancing with him. And he was very cool about it. Like, okay, come on up, let's dance. Then when I saw that documentary, and I didn't know that, and then I sat next to him on an airplane for like a 4 or 5 hour flight, which actually his bodyguard or whoever was next to him, and then I was like in front of him or behind him, but he was stood up and we talked the whole time. And I thought, I didn't even know all this about him all that time. I'm talking about, his baseball cap and the southern food in Florida. And, if I would have known this guy who he was, I would have been bowing down. But I do notice when he got off the plane, he had a huge crocodile Birkin bag. And then I was like, he makes some pretty big bucks, that guy.
Oh, he makes a lot of bucks.
Are you kidding? I had no idea who he was. I just can't believe it.
I mean, he's bigger now than he was when you had at that point in his career. Yeah. I mean, because now he's doing collaborations with like G-Star Raw clothing. And then he's got his own hotel over here now on the beach and everything like that. Restaurants, everything.
He's a big deal. But I had no idea some of this talent, their history and how big they were. The first big break we got was when Barry Gibb sang in the ballroom. Yeah. And after that, it was easier to get people because I could drop his name. I became a name dropper. You know how much I hate those name droppers? I became the biggest name dropper. Hey, isn't your name Pharrell? Pharrell, guess who's played before? Yeah, you want to come and play? Anyway, moving on along. So I saw the Vindmans, Lieutenant Colonel Alex Vindman and his wife Rachel and their daughter Eleanor outdoor at lunch by the pool in North Miami. And they were down here for a bar mitzvah or something, and we just went and had lunch with them, and they were so lovely. I took 6 books, he signed them all, and his wife couldn't be more amazing. I told her she needs to write a book. She does have a podcast. I don't know what it's called exactly, but she does have a podcast. And they were the most nice, lovely people in the world. I couldn't believe it. And he's an American hero. Look him up, Lieutenant Colonel Alex Vindman. He's the one that was on the phone conversation when Donald Trump was trying to convince Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, to lie about the Bidens, and Zelensky wouldn't do it. So when he got off the conference call with Zelensky, he had a twin brother that also worked in the Pentagon or the White House or whatever. He went straight into his office, closed the door, and said to his brother, if what I just heard ever gets made public, the president will be impeached. Then he kept his mouth shut until the hearings. But he's just an amazing guy. I mean, he's just like a wealth of information. So that was good.
Her podcast is called Those Problematic Suburban Women.
Really?
By Rachel. That's what her podcast is called.
Those problematic suburban women. Well, it's true. They watch their kids going to school, knowing that they're having to fight to be able to wear a mask, and then they watch a guy sexually molest 26 women, and then they're like, but our Republican, so it's kind of hard not to be Republican. I'm like, oh my God, honey, get with it. Meanwhile, RJ's rash is almost gone, but he still has it. So that's every day we get a picture of it.
I mean, that's
See how bad it
crazy.
is.
I cannot believe that. It's been 3 weeks now.
Is it? I don't know.
Today's 3 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Yeah, that's
No,
right.
is it 2 weeks or 3 weeks? 2 weeks.
Yep.
Which is it?
It's 2 weeks because
Okay,
it
2
happened
weeks.
right after the podcast.
Oh my God. So that's still going on. And I've got to take him to the doctor to get his blood work and then go get a follow-up. And that's another, it's a full-time job when you're sick. I mean, Julie
is.
from the podcast Dumb Gay Politics, so they also interviewed Vindman for their podcast. She had an operation on her knee. Knee replacement.
Julie
Goldman.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know it is a full-time job? She goes to rehab almost every day. She has to swim in the pool and do her leg in the pool every damn day. She has to, it's a full-time job, an injury or a sickness. I don't even know how people that are really, really ill deal with it and still run their lives.
Listen, I've had a hangnail that got removed and it's turned into I might as well have had surgery. I've been back 4 times.
I can't deal with anything like that.
2 weeks.
So the Bergmans, I don't know why stuff like that. Okay, the Bergs. Allison Berg, Jason, right? That comes to Art Basel every year. So they came in town for 2.5 to 3 days from LA because their younger son may want to go to the University of Miami. So Roy took him on the tour, and then RJ took him on the tour of his room and his dorm and everything. And then the next day, the school was taking him on a tour, and then they flew out. But they came by the house. And I could just die. Roy does not have a brain in his head. He walks him in and sits him down in the kitchen. I'm like, what the hell? We got the whole house sitting in the kitchen. In the kitchen, there's 3 dog cages. There's, I'm just like, really, oh my God. The kitchen, Freda sleeping on the floor. I'm
Freda on the floor with the dogs. People would love that because you had talked about it on the podcast. And then we tried to post that video and it took 3 days for it to but it did post like over the weekend. Somehow it finally went through.
People thought it was funny.
And people were laughing.
It is funny.
They were saying that, they didn't blame her, that the dogs would probably treat her better and that she's closer to the kitchen for lunch.
That's the strangest thing when you walk in your kitchen and you're just like, what's this background noise? It's a radio station in Spanish, and then I just keep turning the TV up to get above it because I can't find where it's coming from. And then I just look down and she pops up her head and that radio's sitting right there with her blaring all. She sleeps with the radio
She was
on
sleeping
all night.
next to the dogs.
No, not next to the dogs. She was on Wolf's
the dog's
bed.
It was on the
She
cot.
was on Wolf's bed. Sleeping because it was closer to the kitchen stove.
Yeah.
Oh,
she wanted to be closer for lunch. She said.
I don't get it. I still don't, but whatever. My English and my Spanish and her English between us, it's just like, oh, I don't know. Okay, whatever you say, Freda. Okay, fine. Sleep there. Go ahead. Sleep there. Maybe. I don't know. I used to sleep on the floor when I was in high school because I don't have to get up and make up my bed.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Whatever. And then we have a new management team at Greenway, at Casa de Greenway. Mr. Raymond's taking it on, Jason. They burnt me out. They burnt Jason out. They burned Heidi out. How many people have we been through? Now Raymond's going to be wearing the hat. Oh my God, that house over there, it's just, I don't know. I think there's a ghost in it. It's always something. I don't even know Jason thinks there's a ghost too. And it was Merrick's original house for Coral Gables, so maybe there's something to it. So did anyone do anything Labor Day weekend? By the way, I called it Memorial Weekend on my tweet, and 20 people were like, it's Labor Day, it's not Memorial. I was like, I was just seeing if you were paying attention. I don't know. What difference does it make? It's a holiday. We celebrate them both. Anyway, did anybody do anything? It was raining the whole time.
No, not really. I mean, I was kind of laid up with my foot, so
oh my God, I can't. But I have to tell you, anybody in Florida that goes anywhere other than outside with people are vaccinated, I have to question.
I went with my real estate agent 2 Sundays ago to that Chica outdoors. We sat there. I haven't missed it at all. I don't care if I ever go back out to another restaurant at this point. The people were rude to us. It was overpriced. They ignored us the whole time we sat there. And the place wasn't busy and they kept setting everyone on top of each other.
But
so I didn't understand it.
Florida has become like
they just don't care.
But it's like they said Vegas is 24 hours,
Yeah.
and New York is a city that doesn't sleep. No, honestly,
It's us.
Put
24/7.
Miami at the very top.
Yeah.
It's 24/7. It doesn't sleep. There's no end to it. There's always a drama going on. They're the last people to follow the rule or the guidelines or to get the mask on or to get the vaccination or to believe in the science or to watch the news. It just, I don't know what has happened. I just live in my own little world, and the most we do is go outside and eat. And if we go and it's crowded, we just keep going.
Yep.
We don't stop. And we've only done that twice since we came back from
Well,
New York. LA, and both times no one was there.
Yeah, I'm not interested in doing it again either. And I was talking to my parents last night. They want me to come home and see them, and I kind of
In Kentucky?
And I want to see them. I mean, my dad's in his 80s.
Yeah,
I
but
missed his
isn't
80th
Kentucky
birthday, but
highly
yeah,
infected?
but as bad as here. And I told him yesterday, I was like, I don't want to risk getting on a plane and coming home and then get me catching it and them catching it, giving it to them or something.
But it's really
get
the booster shot if you can.
Oh, I am,
Just
as soon
get
as I
that
can.
Damn booster. But because they said on the news the last few days, they've been saying that it exponentially increases your antibodies. It's not like a moderate increase; it's like a huge increase, like a quantum leap in antibodies. But it's like when you think about it, if you're like Brendan, he flew from LA to Massachusetts. Okay, both are very low percentages, and they're highly vaccinated, and they're mask wearing states. Mm-hmm. I can see that because you're comfortable that you're around like-minded people. But to go from Miami to Texas or Miami to Kentucky, where they're going to get on a fight on the plane about wearing the mask.
And I have to connect somewhere.
Oh my God.
So there's no
It's
direct
just
flights in. So it's really sad.
We need a plane. Well, RJ and I canceled our last trip to Texas, and now we're scheduled again, and because he has a long weekend in October, and we may cancel it. And Freda's church was going to Israel. This is their third attempt in October the 20th, and they don't even know if they're going to go. I mean, if everyone had to be vaccinated, I know people think the world would come to an end, but everybody got the smallpox, everybody got, the measles, everybody gets the flu one. I don't know. I can't.
My new favorite thing to say is, did you know it was in that ink in the tattoo you have? When somebody throws that out, something about the anti-vax, and then they're covered in tattoos. Yeah. That's my new thing to go after them.
You see the guy with tattoos from head to toe, his neck.
Do you know what was in that ink?
Well, even those women that get the Botox, that's botulism is in that Botox.
It's the same thing, yes.
And then they'll go, and that's the other thing too. They'll weigh 400 pounds and eat 5 packs of potato chips, smoking 2 cigarettes, and getting drunk on martinis, and go, I didn't have that vaccine. Yeah. I want that vaccine in my body. I'm drenched in the blood of Jesus. By the way, where's that Bible? Get it out and dust it off.
I mean,
I can't anymore. I hate to be like that, but I'm just like, Then speaking of, oh my God, did you guys watch I don't watch these, but I see the clips in the news, and if your channel flip me, you catch it. Did you see the amount of college baseball games over the weekend? Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Not just the college games, but they had games like for all of the stuff going on. I saw, and the NFL's getting ready to start again too.
Oh my God. Okay, so Virginia, Georgia, Florida, and Alabama. The 4 worst states. I don't know if Florida. Yeah, the 4 worst states. If you look at it, it is a sea of people packed in like sardines with no mask, yelling, cheering. Yep. They're sweating, and they're drinking that beer, and they're just out there like what virus? Now, give it 10 days, and let's see what happens. Yeah.
They're even saying down here that in 10 days we're going to have a big boost because of Labor Day weekend, what went on.
Oh yeah, Labor Day. They're expecting in 10 days between Labor Day and the football games
by next weekend
that it's going to be a 300% increase in numbers across the board. That's a lot. I just really can't. And by the way, that's where the Bergs stayed over on the beach, and we ate outside at one of the restaurants in a table way off to ourselves, but you should have seen the scene. Yeah. The scene was like Miami Vice. Yeah. Everyone was just partying and drinking and in the pool, and like nothing's going on. Mm-hmm. I mean, you see guys picking up girls they never met before and French kissing them. You're
I saw
what if they had a virus? I don't know. So anyway, my friend in LA who has an institute at UCLA and at USC for post-traumatic stress syndrome and for what is it where things have to be perfect all the time? OCDC.
Jeff.
Okay, so her mother is like almost 90. She contacted COVID from the grandchild, who she was vaccinated. She wound up in the hospital, and she was just stable. And then the housekeeper, this Russian housekeeper, told her to buy this clear lung. It's across at the counter at the drugstore.
Mm-hmm.
She went on that clear lung, and within 5 days they sent her home. It cleared up her lungs. So I'm going to remember that, and we need to remember that because it's across the counter. It's not in Bactrin. You don't need to go to the vet to get it. So somebody tweeted. So this doctor, there was an article that this doctor said that there were so many people in line at the hospital that had Invectum or whatever it is, poisoning from this medicine, that they couldn't even treat the regular patients. So I tweeted back, he should send them all to the vet. Yeah. Well, about 90% of the people agreed with me, but the 10% that didn't were those nasty people that are probably going to be at the next insurrection. I mean, they were just, I can't believe you would say send them to the vet. What are you talking about? They went to the vet and got the medicine. So go to the vet.
Yeah.
If you're going to take the horse medicine,
you're going to take
go to the vet.
Worm pills.
I know, it's just too much. It's just too much. What else? And then, oh God, thank God, the other night it was raining like crazy. RJ was at the dorm. Roy's always on his reading something. And that Meghan and Harry series came on. Did you watch it?
No, but on Lifetime, that movie that
it was
they
not
did.
one, it was three
was
or
like,
four.
I saw a commercial and I was shocked.
So good. Okay, it was when they dated. Then before and when they got married, and then the exit from the palace, and then the baby and living in California. It was really good.
I was seeing some of the people that they had in because I just saw the clip, like the trailer, but the queen looked like the real queen. I mean, they had
I hope that everyone watched it because it was kind of their side of the story. And I'll tell you, I still think Kate Middleton's Black Widow, but that's my opinion. But the one they made look really bad was William.
Oh.
He's the one that came off looking bad. The Queen came off looking very good, and Charles came off looking really good up until the very end. But William came off looking bad. What?
PK Asinta says, I thought it was terrible, and I could only watch it for 10 minutes.
Well, that shows you the difference in my life and yours. You have something else to do. I'm so bored and boring that I thought it was interesting.
My favorite show that's got anything to do with the royal family is that animated series that HBO Max has right now called The Prince. And it's like...
Oh, is it good?
It is hilarious.
I'll have to watch
The
it.
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, there's 3 episodes, and they're all cartoon characters. They got invited to see the Queen and the jewels and all this. It's hilarious. A lot of people find it real offensive because it's very biting towards the royal family, but I think it's hilarious.
Listen, if the royal family with all their millions and billions and trillions and artwork and jewels and crowns can't take a little smack,
the Queen,
I'm not worried about it.
The Queen has a filthy mouth on it, and it's just so weird to see like her reaction to things and the things that she does. I really thought it was funny.
Well, I'd like to have some of those brooches and a couple of crowns. So these guys that we know, what did they invent the last time?
Oh yeah, it's the guys from they had the pillows that had
the pillows, pop pillows.
Life Goes
They make
Pop.
the pillows and you send a picture and they put it on there. Well, they have a new invention now and they sent it to us. It's called TLDT, and you can get it online. And okay, so look, I put it on my phone. It's to hold your phone. So it's so nice because you don't have to put your fingerprints or type, and it's just like great. James, what did they say about it exactly?
So it's not like other rings or things that you use to support the phone because it shifts all the weight onto the back of the fingers and you support it with your pinky. And it also adjusts so you can move it to the side if you want to hold this phone to the side.
Yeah.
Something like that. And they're available online on their website. It's getltd.com. G-E-T.
Great.
Yeah, very
and
nice.
Look, it comes in this, I don't know why they're spending so much money on this packaging. My God, this box costs like $5.
Can you tell we've been pricing out the new boxes and packaging?
Yeah,
Leah's like,
I won't even spend $5 on a box. I just can't right now.
It's really expensive to buy boxes.
But it's great. But anyway,
branded.
It's so nice. Go online and try it out and see what you think.
Yeah, really nice. Thank you guys for sending that.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So meanwhile, I said thank you again for for making the time to help the little guy. Oh my God, they're not little guys. Their pop pillows are fabulous. Your success is a reflection of the size of your heart. Oh, that's sweet. Hope you love our latest venture. Well, of course we do. So meanwhile, remember the checks that I almost went to jail when they came to my house to save me from suicide? Well, it turns out that I had checks that didn't have a routing number that the bank was still accepting. Really? You couldn't notice us? Oh, these checks with this routing number are no longer usable, so don't use them anymore. So that after Jason, how many hours? I had at least 10 hours in it. Jason had hours in it. I mean, I can't even believe it. The bank, we're closing down the bank account.
I got a message from Bank of America this week, and they're going to stop printing checks, period. Paper checks for savings accounts and regular checking accounts, and you're going to have to go online and do everything through their ATM cards and
Jason,
digitally.
I don't know. We have to find another bank now. We can't open up the bank.
Your corporate accounts and stuff probably will still do that. But I thought that was odd.
Closing down the trust bank. I was going to open up the Bank of America because RJ has an account there. Yeah, but I have to be able to write out my checks. I'm not going to go
My mom
online.
too. What would she do in the grocery store?
I'm not going to go online and write a check. I want to be able to write out my. You're going to stand in line at the grocery store.
That's what my mom does.
I'm sorry. No, I don't want to do that. That's ridiculous. So I saw. Oh, and then this comedian, is it Fugman Johnson? He died of an overdose from Lay's Coke laced with fentanyl.
Yeah, 4 people at that party.
4 at that party, plus that actor, Michael Williams.
Yes.
They think that's what he died from.
Because they found all that paraphernalia.
So you better
around
not be doing any coke, anybody, because it's laced with fentanyl.
Fentanyl, yes.
I hope they criminalize it and put these people in jail for that.
That's
I really
horrible.
do.
They had a huge one of the biggest busts ever here at Bal Harbor yesterday. Did you see that?
No, what
Oh
happened?
my goodness. There was somebody on a speedboat and they started chasing him and it went into the waterways and they
You know what? I
deserted
did
the
see
whole
part of it.
speedboat and they found one of the largest
I did see
Coke
part of it. I
things
try
there.
not to watch local news.
Yeah.
It's just too...
It is too much.
It's just too much. But yeah, I saw something about that. Yeah, so, I also the other night was flipping channels and I was watching the El Chapo documentary. Another one. Another one.
And that wife of his, she's in a lot of trouble now.
She is?
Yeah,
Happened?
he married some actress, and then so come to find out she is involved in the whole thing, and they finally caught her in something,
So
and
she's gonna go to jail?
they're going to put her in jail. I think. Yes, I read about that recently. Yeah.
God, there's just, I don't know. I thought drugs were so 70s and 80s. It's kind of time to move on, don't you think? Let's move on to something other than, let's move on to intervectumum. What is it called?
Let's dewormer.
Dewormer. I mean, oh my God. So now the Texas legislation has come up with this little loophole to get around the Supreme Court ruling of Roe versus Wade, where it's 6 weeks now. If you don't get your abortion before 6 weeks, I'm not advocating for or against abortions. I am simply saying 6 weeks is really 2 weeks. And 2 weeks, you still might not even know you're pregnant. And 2 weeks isn't very long to get the money together, make the plan, get the appointment, and get an abortion if you choose to do that. And it's this whole white Christianity. And did you see when they had the signing? The signing, it was all white men. I think they had one woman over in the corner. So it's this white supremacy. They're going to tell you what you can and cannot do with your body.
If the shoe was on the other foot, then it would be vasectomies. Men should be getting vasectomies and not women having to worry about them.
You can reverse those.
Exactly.
So go get one.
It's really ridiculous.
It's just out of control.
It's all about, it's my body and my rights when it's a mask, but then when it's, a woman may right to choose.
Yeah, exactly.
Then it's not.
And they want, so you have to have a baby you carry it for 9 months and support it for years and years and the rest of its life, but you can't put a paper mask on your face for 15 minutes inside the grocery store. I mean, the hypocrisy is out of control.
Absolutely.
And to me, the worst part of it is that they put bounties on your head. So if I know someone's going to get an abortion, I can call and report them and get $10,000. So in theory, you could rape your niece, hold a gun to her head and make her go get an abortion, and then go and collect the $10,000 when she did. I mean, it's really that's a big exaggeration, but that's really how crazy it is if you take it all the way out. It's just, I don't know. Oh, whatever. That's about the car. Reminds me, I've got to check on that car in California. Okay.
Should
Okay.
we do our 5-second break really
Sure.
quick for our commercial? And we're back.
Perfect timing. So meanwhile, in news. So I
perfect.
read this article. I just have to stop reading so much. It's ridiculous. My screen time, like your screen time last week was down 1 hour. You only did 19 hours and 38 seconds in a day. So this German man who was a soccer player, and 39 years ago, he was in young 30s, and he had a knee surgery, and they gave him anesthesia. This is why I'm so nervous about anesthesia. Well, there was a mistake with the anesthesia. He was in a coma for 39 years.
Oh my goodness.
So he finally died at like 74. So that means his parents all died, his siblings maybe died, and he was in this coma for 39 years. I mean, I know you hear these miracles of people getting in a coma and getting out of it, but I mean, honestly, if that was someone you knew, would you let them sit in a coma 39 years?
No.
I don't think I would. And you know, but then you're also thinking, well, what if they did come out of it? What if they did get out of the coma? What if they wake up one day and they're out of the coma? So it's a hard decision to make.
Yeah.
You know, but if I was in a coma for 39 years and I thought I could come out of it looking 39 years younger,
Yeah.
I might do it. But it's very
can you imagine
strange.
that? Like,
No.
that would be like such a jolt, because like think about all the stuff that's come in 30 years. Like there were no cell phones back then. There were no
the whole world.
the
You know,
internet.
it'd
The
be
whole
like
world's
being a
changed.
baby.
It'd
You'd
be
have
like
to
an alien coming
learn to
to-
walk. You'd have to learn to
Yeah.
talk. Your body's atrophied. I mean, I believe the right to life thing, but I don't know. That's a really hard one. I mean, that anesthetic thing went wrong. That's always made me nervous, anesthesia.
Yeah.
That's why I could have a lot more fabulous surgeries and look fabulous, but I'm so nervous about it, especially now with COVID. So now then, I'm just minding my own business, looking through my feed of news. This girl walks through the entire airport. Did you see this? With flip-flops and a string bikini on.
Oh, she's
catch a fly.
and she's the one they removed because she had that on.
I don't think they removed her.
There was someone last week I read about that.
She posted her picture saying that she had a pool party at 12 o'clock and a Spirit Air. She had to be on Spirit Air by 4 o'clock, so she just had to go straight to the airport.
Oh my God.
And yeah.
And she had on a bikini?
A bikini.
Well, that's first class for Spirit.
Yeah.
I mean, I flew them once and my seat was taped to the floor with duct tape. So
Oh my God.
I was
But
never
I
doing
mean-
that again.
I mean, the world has just changed. I mean, obviously she didn't go to Texas because they had to put her in jail for, being sexy.
Being too loose.
Oh my God, yeah, being one of those trashy girls.
Yeah.
So the nationwide increase in the poison control centers because of ivermectin calls are up 163% compared to last year.
And what's that Rogan guy that has one of the top podcasts?
Oh, yeah.
And he went off last week telling everybody that he had been taking it and it cured him along with everything.
Yeah.
They threw everything at
All
the
this misinformation.
And then he says, "I'm an idiot. Nobody should listen to me."
Really? How
And I
many
was like,
people
yeah,
are in the
nobody's-
hospital?
exactly.
In the meantime, they're in the hospital lining up getting it.
Yeah,
and,
Joe Rogan.
it's just too much. Now, you guys, if you're in California, you got to vote no on that recall, because unless you want someone to the right of Donald Trump running the state of California, which is our only reprieve right now, I mean, he's anti-mask, he's anti-woman's choice, he's anti-vaccine, he's anti-everything, and he's anti-raising the minimum wage, he's anti-maternity leave, he's anti. You can't get out. If you don't like Gavin Newsom, vote him out in a year, but you cannot put a Republican in there right now, not one of these right-wing Nazi ones. I mean, if there was a regular one, but there aren't any regular ones anymore.
No.
They're all covering up for the insurrection right now.
Yep.
I don't know why they don't have that get those hearings going. They're having a hearing on Afghanistan, but they're not having a hearing on
on January 6th.
6th insurrection, and they're planning another insurrection now. Yep. I wonder how that's going to turn out for September the 11th.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, no, it's going to be it's
the day
after
after, it's the
September,
12th.
but it's because of they're showing solidarity for the political prisoners that are in jail for breaking into the Capitol, breaking the windows, beating cops with things to blind them and cut their fingers off. 5 people died, and they're going to go and root for these poor political prisoners that broke into the Capitol and wanted to hang the vice president and kill the Speaker of the House. And they're having this pity party for them. What has the world come to? All this is started with Trump. I'm sorry, it all started with him. And until the day he's 10 feet under, it's not going to go away because he's going to just keep egging it on, keep egging it on.
He's the shark. Jaws coming back to the beach, kills the people.
Loves the attention, loves the chaos, loves all of it. And by the way, if he runs again, write this down. If he runs again, it's for one reason and one reason only. The fix is in. He thinks he's going to win because they put all these low people in high places, and it's the most money he's ever made in his life is fundraising off of these people. Yeah. It's a grift. It's a grift. They're fundraising, and they're making all this money, and none of it. Remember the $75 million that he raised to check on the illegal voting? Not $1 of that went to check on the illegal voting. Meanwhile, in Arizona, they're the slowest counters in the world. They're still counting the vote. They're still counting the vote in California. There's cyber ninjas.
They think it's gonna change every time.
The cyber ninjas. Oh my God. And meanwhile, climate change is real, and it is now. Oh my God. 43 people had died as of Thursday last week in the Northeast. So 35 billion gallons of water. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Houses in Philadelphia filled up with water. 150-mile-an-hour winds.
What about the houses in New York where the basements flooded and fell in?
People dying in the basements. They couldn't get out because they were in their basements, and it came within 30 seconds.
Yeah,
they said it just like, oh, you're sleeping, and all of a sudden you've got 4 inches left to breathe. Yep. And then 835 people, passengers, were rescued from the subway. There were 8 tornadoes, and that doesn't even count Lake Tahoe on fire, Louisiana, where thank God the levees held, and people dying there. Another fire in Northern California, and the tornadoes. And I will never understand how we are now not spending $350 million a day in Afghanistan. We're not spending that anymore. But we can invest $3.5 trillion into infrastructure, because the only reason New Orleans isn't completely underwater and everyone's not dead right now is because the levees held, and they invested a ton of money in the levees. If they don't invest in the infrastructure to accommodate the warming of the climate, and if they don't invest in climate change, it's going to be... I don't understand Joe Manchin. He's like, well, we have to really think this, like, just take a step back. Well, we took a step back, and look what happened. It's gotten worse and worse and worse. And what's better, to pay to prevent the problem, or to pay to go clean up the problem and pick up the dead bodies?
He's a coal mining state. That's why plays both sides of the fence.
Like to tell
it's
you,
really bad. I agree with him.
75% of his people agree with the infrastructure.
I agree.
So somebody's making some big donations to him because it's not his constituency, because his constituency agree with the infrastructure.
I did see this week at my house, they were in the alley running new lines, and when I looked at the cars that were the inspectors that were coming by, it was U.S. infrastructure was on the side of the...
Well, that's the other thing. They have to put all that wires underground. That's one thing. They have to build up levees, and they have to build up where the water level can be. They have to cool the climate down so that when we do have a hurricane or a storm, it's not as severe. There's a million things that they could do, and it's possible to do. But it all costs money. Yeah. And you either pay now or you pay later. You know, it's like anything else. There is no shortcut.
Old story, the old saying about an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of
cure. A pound of cure. Because, like, if you don't maintain your car, if you don't put oil in it, and you don't put water in it, and you don't keep the tires done, it's just going to stop one day, and you're going to burn out your motor, and then you're going to need a new car. You have to maintain things, and you have to plan ahead. I don't understand their thinking. I mean, 75% of the people in the state of Kentucky are for the infrastructure and the reconciliation and the voter rights. He's a stubborn old guy that's drunk on power and is just going to stick to never admit he's wrong. And obviously his donations must be coming from some people that is contradictive to what's better for the planet.
Yep.
It's really, it's just unbelievable. I just can't.
Well, we have a few comments from some people.
Oh
They're
my
all
God.
saying hello, Leah. That you look. BB says you look fabulous
Oh
today.
my God, we got rained on today.
T. Hamilton says loves you, Leah, and the Brooke Love 1110 says, what do you think of the Erika Girardi case now? So I know you had made comments on it prior. Maybe you want to save that for your housewives segment, but
No, I don't even have a. We're in random here, but
Okay.
okay. So what I think is that I think she was blindsided. I think when it started unraveling, she might have had a hint of what was going on and maybe turned a little bit of a blind ear or blind eye, but she was overwhelmed and just knocked down on her back, flat on her back.
she was in shock.
And in shock, and didn't know who to turn to and what to do. But I said it before, the city of Los Angeles treated him like a king. They gave him awards after awards after awards. His law partners, 20, 30 law partners, never raised their hand and said there's something here going on. Mm-hmm. The bar never raised their hand and said there's something here going on. Of all of those people, there were a very small amount that sued them for any money at all, and they sued them for small amounts of money. Mm-hmm. And he was, he was a hero. He donated, everyone thought he was like the real deal. So why would a woman who if he was a phony, a fraud, or a cheat, or a liar, the last person he would want to know that would be his wife, because he would want to show off for her and buy her pretty things and be the big king of the house. Mm-hmm. And so he would do everything he could, I'm sure, to hide it from her. I would imagine, being married to a lawyer, if they put something in front of you and it's 25 pages, you're like, do I need to go hire an outside firm to read this, or should I just sign it? Chances are you just trust them and sign it, because you figure, well, they're a lawyer, they've got a law firm, they're not going to do anything to jeopardize their livelihood or their career or go to jail. So you just assume. Mm-hmm. So I just think she didn't have a background in law, she didn't have a background in finance, and she had a good life, and she thought she had married this Prince Charming that wanted her to have it, was taking care of her. Then she gets blindsided. Then she starts to hear about what's going on. But at that point, she's boxed in.
Yeah.
What is she going to do? Who can she talk to? Who can she confide in? So she goes and hires lawyers. Mm-hmm. And now she probably can't really tell her side of the story, because the lawyers have said, just don't say anything till we get this behind us. And so she's in that situation. So I'm not going to pile on with her right now.
Yeah, and listen, one of his former executive assistants gave a deposition this week and told the attorneys that he had the books locked up, and he was the only one that had access to the financials for her business and what was going on in the firm.
That doesn't surprise me at
so,
all.
there's another piece of evidence that shows you're right.
But if Roy came to me and said, we had a really big year, I'm going to give you $1 million to put in your bank account and help grow your business, I'm like, really? Should I take it or not? Should I go look and see where it came from? Oh, no, you're going to take that money because you want to build your business. And in her case, it was her career and her brand.
Right.
And, she spent a lot of money. But if you go and look at what these big stars spend, they spend that kind of money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To be on that level, people don't realize the investments that go in it. And, I think you have to look at it from that way. Also, you have to look at, she was working too. The Shoe Dazzle, she's had several collections with them that sold out. She was in Chicago. She was also had recording links. She's on the
shows.
She's on that Kardashian app that you have to pay to play.
Went out and did her shows, and those are not easy to do. Traveling around and getting up on the stage and singing and dancing at 50 years old, kicking your leg up in the air, having to look pretty every day, having to work out at the gym every day. I know. Tell me, cry a river. Mm-hmm. But these girls work.
Yes, they do work. So
it's not like working at Denny's, and they are privileged. There's no doubt about it. But it costs money to brand yourself that way and make money.
Right.
And so I just am not going to pile on.
I think it's gonna everyone needs to let the law play out and see what happens.
I don't know.
Somebody else is asking you too what you thought about the lawyer in South Carolina who was shot this weekend, weeks after his wife and son were also murdered. It has now come to light that he had stolen money from the law firm. So what do you did you see that story?
I saw that story. And when the wife and son were killed, people kind of concluded, well, was just a random thing. But then when he was killed, then you're thinking, and because he resigned the day before he was killed. So now you're thinking, what is he hiding, and who are his enemies? Can you imagine the guilt that man? Yeah, he didn't he die or not? I thought he died. I don't know if he died or not.
He was shot.
I don't think he died.
No, he didn't die.
I don't think he did die. Yeah, I don't think he died.
Yeah, I don't think he died, but he was shot.
Can you imagine the guilt? But he shot on the side of the road.
Right.
Hit his ear.
He
or
did not
something.
die, they said.
Hit his ear.
Yeah, he got hit in the ear.
So.
And he said he was going to go to rehab when he got
That's
and all
right.
that. I saw that.
So now you're thinking, what enemies did this man make?
And they had a lot. From what I hear.
Those enemies went and killed his wife and son.
They're very well known and very established in that state.
Now
I heard.
the son was a problematic son too.
The father's involved.
Well, why would the father want his son and his wife killed?
Maybe there's a lot of policy out of that. Maybe things are going to come.
He's saying maybe there's a live.
I understand things that the father comes. I'm not saying, obviously he's pissed off somebody or he's involved directly.
I don't think he would have him killed. Now he may. I just can't. Maybe the wife if he had a big insurance policy, but definitely not the son. I can't. I can't wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
I hope it's. I hope it all comes out.
It's really
God,
bad
you know, there's a
situation.
lot of shady people. Well, come to Florida where
Sunny-
shady people hang out.
Sunny place for shady people.
Yeah, and meanwhile, what about that Marine that in Florida
Apparently he
went
had a drug
and
problem.
shot and killed that infant, the dog, and the parents? Got his whole gear on, his body gear on, his proof thing on, and went in. He was an ex-sharpshooter in the Marines and just shot these 4 people randomly because God told him to.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Like the guy on the mushrooms down here. The other
yeah,
day.
that went in
That went and
killed,
danced on the guy a few
and
weeks
killed
ago.
the guy. This is why you can't take
just-
drugs.
yeah.
You never know how you're going to react to them, you know?
The comments following up on the previous story about the lawyer, they're saying that he did have it's found out now that he did have a drug problem, and they are thinking that he may have had his wife and kids killed for the life insurance policy.
I can't. Maybe the wife, Jason's saying that, but maybe the wife, I cannot imagine somebody having their son killed for a life insurance policy. I can't even imagine the guilt that someone's carrying for a month knowing that because they've done these shady things that their wife and children are at risk. Oh my God. Oh, meanwhile, I was going to tell you in political news, Judge Sotomayor wrote the dissenting opinion on the Texas abortion case that they didn't hear. And she said that Texas has departized the state's citizens. I can't remember what she said. Anyway, as bounty hunters. So they have deputized the state citizens as bounty hunters, offering them cushy prizes for prosecuting their neighbors.
Yeah, $10,000.
Yeah, and that it's a very dangerous thing to do because sounds like we're in Russia or somewhere. I mean, we want to be free. We want to be free, but we don't mind having an authoritarian government.
I saw a comic strip yesterday, and it was 2 women standing on the street in Birkins, and one of them said, "Hi, are you from Afghanistan?" And she says, "No, Texas."
Yeah, people from Afghanistan are not going to want to flee to Texas. In fact, Texans may want to flee to Afghanistan. There were 5 million new jobs have created since January 20th. Thank you, Joe Biden. Unemployment is down 57%. Thank you, Joe Biden. Poverty is down 50%. Thank you, Joe Biden. Childhood poverty is down. Unemployment rates are down 8.5 to 8.5% compared to last year at 5.2%. And so there you go. I mean, I don't care what people say. I mean, maybe there were some things in Afghanistan that could have been done differently, but I don't think anyone in this entire planet, they can go back and say they whatever they want. No one thought the Taliban with 300,000 trained soldiers was going to collapse in 11 days. Yep. Trump handed the Taliban over to, the Afghan government over to the Taliban on a silver platter, and they had months to plan their strategic takeover. Mm-hmm. The Afghans probably felt like the Taliban's brutal. They're going to kill us all. We can't fight them. And some of them took payoffs, and it was the Taliban's government. Trump handed it to them. He signed an agreement with them. Wanted to invite them to tea at Camp David. He considered them a legitimate government, and they took over. Didn't even invite the Afghanistan government to the meetings. And then the Afghanistan government president flees with $160 million. So how would Biden anticipate that in 11 days that they would all just lay down their arms and hand it over to the Taliban? I just don't see how you can blame him for that. And I think once it happened, he had to adjust, and they got 100,000 plus people out, and they're still trying to keep people out. So stop criticizing him for closing down a war that nobody else had the guts to close down, that was costing us $350 million a day. Then now that money can come into our own pockets here for people that need it. And we've got a lot of problems here to solve.
Yep.
Meanwhile, I don't agree with this. This prison was giving no consent ivermectin to inmates 2 weeks ago in Washington County, according to CBS News. And they didn't know they were taking ivermectin. So, I mean, the prison system is so screwed up because it's a profit center for a lot of people. Yep. That's one of the things that should not be privatized. There should be no incentive to put people in prison. Yep. It should be simply based on the facts and the law. And a lot of people in government own percentages and get profits from these prisons. A flight attendant that got her teeth knocked out on Southwest Air, remember that? Well, the passenger that knocked her teeth out is facing 2 felonies. He should be facing more than 2 felonies. For sure. If you're on an airplane, I'm a nervous flyer already, and you're fighting with some woman and knocking her teeth out? I mean, oh my God. I wouldn't be able to handle it. Greta Thunberg put out a chart. Reasons why women have abortions. 60% are their personal choice. 10% is not your concern. 8% mind your own business, and 22% F off. And then in gun deaths, toddler in Florida found his father's gun, fatally shot his mother while she was on a Zoom with her colleagues. A 4-year-old in Wisconsin found his dad's gun, shot his 2-year-old sibling, and that kid died. I mean, why are we working on that? I don't know. And then, oh my God. Okay, so a woman goes to Burger King. They give her the wrong drink. She pulls a gun, points a gun on the woman that gave her the drink and said, I'm going to blow your head off.
I saw that video.
For giving her the wrong drink. Yep. And you want to know why we need to have some kind of gun restrictions and make people qualify to have a gun and make sure they're not mentally ill and they're trained properly? Well, here's 3 incidences this week that I can think of. Now, Jason will like this. Remember that Bansky painting that went for $1.4 million in the auction that they shredded? You know how much they think it's going to go for now at the next auction?
5.2 times.
Yep, over $5 million.
Yeah. 1 minute.
I'd like to have it. Well,
I was gonna tell everyone we are running our special on leahblack.com where you can use the podcast code and you'll get 30% off of individual CBD and sudden youth products for a limited time. So make sure you take advantage of that. And
we're slowing down on those specials. We gave everybody a bunch of freebies for a while. We have to go back to regular business now. We want to pay the bills around here. Meanwhile, in Florida, just so you know, 6%. Florida has 6% of the population and 25% of the daily COVID deaths. So there you go. There's a doctor in Florida, Dr. Lisa Morachi, said she will no longer continue in person to see unvaccinated patients in person beginning September 15th because it's not fair to her to subject her staff to unnecessary risk. So, honey, I am with you. Good for you. Okay, guys, that's it. I guess we'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Bye.
Bye-bye. We'll see you next week.
Oh, I forgot to mention Pete Buttigieg had twins.